Please note that in this show, you might hear graphic descriptions or language that may not be appropriate for everyone. Listener discretion advised. Welcome to Parentless Podcast. I am your host, Stephanie Relaford. On this show, we're going to be speaking with others who have experienced the loss of one or both of their parents or parental figures. As we heard in episode 12 with Louisa Velarde, being parentless is like an island, and I don't know how to swim. Thank you for being my life jacket. Before we get to today's episode, I think it's important that I try to set the scene for you as best I can. Scott showed up for this interview wearing a #PleaseJustStart t-shirt, which he can be found in most of the time, he tells me. And he was sitting at a table in front of an amazing background that reads Scott_inspires in white writing over a dark background. As we were setting up, Scott made such a random comment, and he typed Parentless Podcast into his phone. And when you do that, it gives you the little red line that says, hey, parentless isn't a word. And he made the observation that you're going to hear right before his introduction.
Only to us, parentless is a word, you know what I mean? I am Scott Greenhut. I live in the Atlanta area in Duluth, Georgia, and I am 35 years old. And unfortunately, I have lost my mom, dad, and sister by the age of 33, and I have started my journey as an inspirational speaker to share everything I've been through, hopefully inspire others to live life with no regrets, and to #PleaseJustStart. My mom, Harriet Greenhut, passed away on July 7th of 1998. Next month, it'll be 23 years. I was 12 years old and she was 44 when she passed away. And she started off, it was right around my sister's 9th birthday, and I was 4, almost 5. And I remember when we got the call that she had cancer and she had felt a lump. It started off breast cancer, moved to the liver, and then brain tumors. And she lasted a month shy of 8 years. She found out in August of 90, she found out she had cancer and had a little remission for a little while, and then it came back. And then she passed away in July of 98. Yeah, it was really hard growing up with her being sick, but she fought very hard every single day and was a fighter to be there for me and my sister, and of course my dad as well, but to be there as much as she could for me and my sister. And I will always remember that and take everything we went through together, all the memories, and try to share my story along with all their stories as well, of everything that we've been through, and try to help other people who are going through things in life. We all go through different things, and so it's how we respond to it, not what happens to us, but how we respond to it.
You said that you were 4 or 5 whenever you got the call that she was sick, and then this continued on for the rest of your life as you knew her. Being so young, and then I don't know when you have your first memories, but around that time, did you care for your mom, like caretake for her? How were you as a young child with her?
So I did everything I could. I was in, grade school. I was in elementary school, and I know this is going to sound weird, but this is something like kind of what you talked about, caretake. I would do any and everything I could for her, and this is going to sound weird, and I'm okay with it because this is something I did all the time. She would be like, "Go to sleep," when it was time to go to sleep, and she always had a pain in her toe. And this is so awkward, but I don't care. I'm going to say it. And I would lift her toenail up, and it would make her feel better. She put her feet on me. I was 7, 8, 9, 10. It was I don't know if it ingrown toe. I don't know, because it was the least of the worries of everything else she was going through. But she was like, "Scott, go to sleep." And I'm like, "I'll lift your toe up, okay, for just a few minutes." And I did it all the time. That is a very big memory. I had a little kit of things, and I don't know if this is the first time people who know me really well are even going to really hear this or whatever, but yeah, I did that all the time and lifted her toenail up, and you could tell it was relief. And so it was I don't want to say one of our things, but I guess it kind of was, and a very big memory. I just started watching it recently on Hulu, was Seventh Heaven. It started in 1996, and my sister Melissa yelled, "Scott, I think," in the other room, she goes, "Scott, I think there's a show you're going to really like, a family show." I didn't know anything about it. And I think either in the middle of episode 1 or a few minutes into episode 1 or episode 2, we turned it on. And like I said, my mom died in 98, but like I watched every episode. I'm just starting it from the beginning on Hulu right now, actually, as we talk about this. Yeah, I've watched every episode from season 1 to 11 and numerous times. And that's a big memory. But I always tried to be there. I wasn't necessarily a primary caretaker for her, but I would come home. I never felt like I lived a normal kid life. Like not just because I didn't play Nintendo or any games like that, nothing like that per se, but nothing ever seemed normal to my peers at all. And I always felt like behind, just mentally and everything with everything I've been through. And I know we'll get into it in a minute after this, but like until my dad also passed away 19 years and a month and 3 days after she passed away, which we'll get into, I really felt sorry for myself that I lost my mom. And then when I lost my dad and I became parentless by age 31, I would, then when your back's against the wall, like I said, we'll talk more about this, but when your back's against the wall, you really see what you're made of. There's no time at that point with no parent left and always feeling sorry for myself. Okay, I can fold here or I can try to get better, and we'll get into that. But I decided it was time to try to get a little better, and hopefully we got a lot better, and we'll get into that. But yeah, I learned, tenacity, and I learned a lot from my mom to be a fighter, never to give up, and just she was a very sweet lady. She would be in the hospital and be like, oh, we have cards on the end of the table we need to get to for so-and-so's birthday or anniversary or whatever. I mean, it was just like, what? How are you worrying about that right now? But that's what she did, and that's who she was. At her core, who she was. She wanted to be there for us so much, and she was, and she still is. And how it's, none of us are going to be here forever. It's how you leave a lasting mark on someone is like who you really are. Because these are just bodies right now while we're here. We need these bodies to fuel us to live, but our spirit lives on forever. And how we treat others and how you make someone feel. And that's how she's living on now through, unfortunately, just me that we'll get into. And I feel it's my job to share my family story because they're not here to be able to talk for themselves.
With that toenail, yes, or the toe, I think that was definitely your thing. And the thing about it that I see right now, like you said, it provided relief. She had a whole bunch of stuff that probably wasn't getting very much relief from. And to have one thing that you can kind of control. And I know that you said you've got something there that you might control things with. I don't know, mental health wise. So that's interesting. But yeah, no, I think that's so cool that you brought that up. I love firsts here. Like if the people that know you don't even know about that, now they do. That's super cool. Thank you for sharing here. But totally, I feel like that was probably something that your mom would have really remembered too and thought about and really appreciated. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
The loss of your mom happened when you were 12 years old. That's a very young age to have to deal with that. And this is like a really cop-out question, but we have to talk about it because it happened. So how do you feel like your life has been changed with the death of your mom?
I mean, there's been an emptiness because like after my mom died, I don't have that. So after my mom died, 7 months later, my dad sent me to live with my aunt in Florida, my mom's sister. And like, I didn't need another lady to come in and try to, even though it was my mom's sister, to like be like a mom figure. I needed my dad to step up because I had a mom. I had a great mom. She just, she passed away from cancer. And there's just been I've just felt really behind in life. So her passing away, I couldn't really just grieve that and deal with that as like a young kid. So I've always felt behind in life in a lot of ways because of like, obviously not her fault, but just her when she passed away at my age and then what happened after that. But again, I'm going to be able to talk about full circle with my dad in a little bit, like how things can turn around, even though it was very dark after that with him. Since she passed away, there's just been this void. And, not even just Mother's Day, but you hear, people talk about my mom. And I mean, my head just goes right to Harriet. I mean, automatically, like, I don't have one. Since I've been 12, I haven't had one. 12 and a half, I haven't had one. It's been very hard. There's been this void. But as I've gotten older and have matured, because I grew up so fast in to that moment, and then I feel like my growth was so stunted for so long, literally until I walked in and saw my dad passed away as well. We'll get into that. I felt sorry for myself, and I don't think I grew that much. And we're talking through through my 20s, high school, 20s. I'm really behind in a lot of ways, and I'm just trying to get where I'm supposed to go now, I feel like. It's hard to navigate that on my own, but that's what I'm meant to do. I was meant to grow up once my dad passed away as well.
That's how I felt too. My dad passed away when I was 13, and I was much more mature than my people at that time. But, they continued living their life and doing all the stuff that you're supposed to do. And then I did all this mature stuff, I felt like. And then now that I'm older, I feel the same, like a little bit behind. That's probably a better term to use than stuck, because, we're not that age anymore. But
right.
Yeah, so I feel that. I feel like it was a little awkward for you to explain that. Like, people might not understand, but I bet a lot more people understand than you think.
Yeah, it's hard to describe, because, like, again, my mentality was oh, I lost my mom, feel sorry for me, but by my actions, I wouldn't say it per se, but by my actions spoke louder than my words.
That's always.
And so that was the issue. That's always been the issue until I looked in the proverbial mirror and said, what am I going to do with this life now? And now I'm just every day. No day is perfect. No day is the worst in the world. No day is the best in the world. I'm literally trying to do the best I can every day. And I don't worry anymore what people think of that's okay for them, because they're not in my shoes and I'm not in their shoes. Don't judge anyone, because you've never been in anyone else's shoes but your own. So do the best you can in your situation. Take
me through whatever you want to tell me about your dad and your sister. Just take me through all of that, and then we'll kind of get to the questions.
Sure. So I'm the last person left in my immediate family. As we've already discussed, my mom passed away when I was 12. My dad passed away when I was 31. And my sister passed away 9 days shy of a year and a half after my dad, and I was 33. My dad was 62 when he passed away, and then respectively, my sister was 37. And my dad was on dialysis for 7 years and stopped dialysis to pass away. And he had really no quality of life left. He couldn't even lift his arms up to his chest anymore. He always beat to his own drum. So him being able to legally do what he did with being on dialysis, and if you're not on it for 4 or 5 days after the time that you're supposed to be back on it wise, you're pretty much gone. And so it only, at the time it made sense for him. Oh, I wouldn't have wanted to do that. My aunt was saying I wouldn't have done that. Scott wouldn't have done that. But, he was in his right mind enough, as much as he ever was, in his right mind to do that at that time. So he did that. And then I walked in, he was in hospice his last 6 days. And then I literally within 5 to 10 minutes after he actually passed, because I got the call from hospice that he was transitioning, and I was like, what? I mean, I knew what that meant, like in words, but like, how long do I have? They're like, a little bit, like, get here as soon as you can. And I pulled in, they opened the door for me, and I said, and they're like, it just happened. And I said, okay. So I know I'm walking into his hospice room where I saw him the last 5+ days, laying there. I hate to say it like this, but I guess this is a better place than any to talk about it like this, to see him laying there dead. And he was as peaceful as I've ever seen him be in my entire life. He looked that way. And then unfortunately, if you didn't know me well, you didn't know that my sister was unfortunately not far behind with her ocular melanoma. But if you knew me well, then you knew that unfortunately that was probably coming up sooner than later. And like I said, 9 days shy of a year and a half after he died August 10th of 17, and she died February 1st of 19. So basically a year and a half later, my sister passed away of ocular melanoma. She was diagnosed with ocular melanoma in January of 2011, and she was 29 years old, and within a week decided that her best way for treatment and figuring out navigating through that would be to have her right eye removed, go ahead and get the cancer out and deal with whatever's next after that, and had a glass eye soon after that, and a very, very, very good attitude throughout. And I mean, she was an incredible human being, and she was my rock. And we after our mom died, we bickered like siblings, of course do. She was 4 years, 3 months older than I was. But right, pretty much like a couple of weeks after our mom died, we really became close. And then, like I alluded to a little while ago, my dad sent me to live in Florida with my aunt, with my mom's sister, because I was quote unquote interrupting his dating life. And so I'm 12. Yeah, so I'm 12. I'm 13 at that time. It's February of 99. I know I talk about dates because, as my therapist says, you talk about dates a lot. I said, yes, I have dates, memories, and photos. All I have left of my immediate family. So I navigate this the best I can. So I know I just had an inner dialogue with myself, but that's what we do sometimes. Yeah, so, it's been a journey, but I was probably touching close to 300 pounds at some point, but I was over 270 when my dad died, and he begged me every single day to start losing weight. He sat in his green chair and he said, "Scat, when are you gonna start losing weight, my boy?" And I'm like, yeah, I would go past the kitchen. I'd go past him in the kitchen, and he'd be sitting in his green chair, and he'd be like, "Scat, when are you gonna lose weight? Because you're gonna be just like me, because I was just like you at 30, 31. And you're going to be just like me unless you change." And literally, it took me walking into his hospice room, seeing him laying there dead, to realize that's my future. And he was, unfortunately, I hate to say this, but this is real, he was my personal martyr to get my life in order. And I thank him for everything he did. It was rocky at times, but he cried on his deathbed, thanking me for everything I did for him. I was his caregiver. So from him getting rid of me because I was interrupting his dating life, and I was getting bigger and bigger and bigger at that, at 12, 13 years old after my mom died, to him crying on his deathbed 2 or 3 days before he could never talk again and communicate again and was gargling and stuff, crying on his deathbed, thanking me for everything I did for him. That's why I'm here today.
And the fact that he was kind of in control of when he passed away. And so he had that ability to tell you that thank you. Mm-hmm. And that he was able to do that just personally, not even speech wise, but just, that he had the ability inside him to tell you that he appreciated that. So.
Yeah, it wasn't all candy canes and lollipops. I promise you that. But to have the closure that we had, Hollywood scripter couldn't have written that. Based on our reality before that, it wasn't always good. It definitely wasn't always good. And I'm not going to forget that. But you know what? I have to live now, so I do the best I can. I've had people tell me, don't forget what a-hole he was or whatever. I'm like, okay, well, he wasn't perfect, and that's why I talk about that in my when I try to go speak and stuff to certain groups, high school kids on a basketball team that I've been fortunate enough to talk to. That they're not going to take much from that per se, but talking about death and stuff where people are interested in hearing people's stories, and being inspired by that and hearing different people's stories and different ways to cope and everything that people go through. That's more, where I need to tell that type of story. Yeah, it's been, a journey. We talk about journeys a lot and stuff and grief and everything, but I'm here and I'm thankful for that. And I have a roof over my head and I'm thankful for that. And, I hate this, but I appreciate him more that since he's not been here. And I know it sounds weird. I hate that I appreciate him more now than I ever did with him being here. That's why when my Please Just Start, I lost 110 pounds between my dad and sister passing away. And I'm very thankful for that. But my Please Just Start is not about weight. My Please Just Start is about not living life with regrets. Because we're only given one life. My mom, dad, and sister are still gone from the beginning of this conversation to where we are now. That's never going to change. So what can you do today to help your tomorrow or the next day or the next day? Because there's no guarantees. So start something you want to do. My quote on the back of my shirt and the back of my business card is, don't wait for something negative to happen in your life for you to make the positive change you always think about. You hear people go to funerals and like, I'm going to go jump out of that airplane now. I'm not going to go jump out of an airplane at all. I have a heart condition. Go do that now. Go seize the day now. Please just start now. Don't wait till you see your future negatively to change something positively. And that's kind of where that was really born of yes, mine is weight loss and mine is family loss. So what are you going to do now? But that's Please Just Start is literally a way to hopefully to live every day.
If you've enjoyed what you've heard, please consider sharing the show with a friend or rating and reviewing wherever you're listening right now. This will help get the word out about the show, and if one person can be helped by listening to someone's story here, that is amazing. If you would like to share your story with me, you can visit the website at www.backhomemedia.com/parentlesspodcast. You can also email me at parentlesspodcast@gmail.com. Another way to get a hold of me is to find me on Instagram or Facebook, also at Parentless Podcast. And lastly, if you're a phone person, please leave me a voicemail at 623-396-6069. If you love the show and you'd like to help with any special projects that might go on at Parentless Podcast or just be privy to some special extras, go ahead and visit patreon.com/parentlesspodcast. Not every day is, like you said, rainbows and unicorns. It's, you still have your struggles and you have your things that you do to get through those struggles. So one of the things that I like to ask about are your coping mechanisms. Can you tell me about those?
Sure. So I have OCD. So I check a lot, but no. So another thing I'd like to talk about, thank you for that opportunity, is mental health. And I am on depression and anxiety medicine, and I've needed it probably way before all my losses, but I was getting better in a lot of aspects. But I mean, the checking and stuff was bad, but like I've had anxiety. I was dizzy. Like even when I lost my weight, I was still a little bit dizzy here and there. I don't know how to breathe. I was like, is something wrong with me? Or it's just really everything I've been through in my body. Even when I lost all the weight, it was still fairly, pretty bad at times. So I go see it. I see a therapist as well, but then I also have a psychiatric nurse practitioner, which is, I guess, I see a lady about medicines, and then the doctor, she's, I guess, prescribes the medicines for me, and I'm on anxiety. Like I said, I'm on anxiety and depression medicine because, I mean, let's keep it real. I've been depressed for a while, and I've had some really negative thoughts, but I don't ever want to get to that point where it's very, very negative. And I've gotten, I don't say close, but I've gotten where I've been uncomfortable with my thoughts. And when I go speak, I want to talk about this with mental health. When you're taking medicine, you're doing two things to get better. You're doing better for your body by taking the medicines that you're lacking in for whatever reason, deficient in. And two, you're deciding every day to take that pill or whatever. You're deciding to get better, and you're putting yourself in a position every day to get better by taking medicine. There should be no negative thoughts on taking medicine. And I don't want to say nobody's like myself, but someone like me who I don't have a big platform. I'm very thankful to be on this platform, but I don't have a big one, but just people, everyday people like myself who can speak on this. And if someone hears is like, yeah, he's been through what he's been through, and somehow he gets up every day and he tries, but I have help with that. And that's anxiety medicine and depression medicine. Because some days I'm really not sure if that's what I'm supposed to do is get up. It's hard. I don't think like that, but you just get, you everyday life, gets to you for no matter what reason. Not have to be family loss or whatever. But like I said, I'm never going to have my mom, dad, and sister back in real life. So I get up every day, put myself in the best position I can to share my story of what I've been through their losses, and talk about them, that I'm able to sit here today and talk to Steph on the Parentless Podcast about my family. They're living today, and I want them to live every day. So if I post about it or whatever, I know some people have reached out to me that they're, not tired of hearing about it or whatever, but your stuff is depressing. Well, imagine living it. Imagine living it every day. That's really hard. You can click on my stuff or not click on it. I don't care sometimes. I'm going to keep it real. This is my life and what I go through every day. So that's as real as it's going to get with me.
They see what you post, but you're right. You're there every day, and you're the one who's getting up every day.
I have to show up or not, and I hope to show up every day.
Yeah. And the thing about medication too is, like, if you have a good day and you're like, oh, I don't need medication, you can't get into that hole either, because then you just get back into where it gets bad. But yes, definitely, like you said, the choice to take that medication. And for some people, it's the choice to actually get the help. to start that process. So please just start if you need some sort of help like that. And I can say that to myself too. That's one thing that I like to talk about in these conversations. And you've mentioned that you do go to a therapist. I always say I haven't ever been to therapy yet, not trying to knock it until I try it. We will see. But for with your therapy, do you want to tell me a little bit about that? Like, what type of therapy do you do? How often do you go? How has it helped you?
So yeah, I'm right now at one time a month. I'm normally a normal month, the first Monday of every month, and it's been online for obviously the past year plus. And I didn't mind going into it, but I really do like the virtual and talking to him this way. It wasn't uncomfortable before, but it's very comfortable. It's way relaxed, and we just talk. And it's more just talking. It's having, I talk to people around me. I do have, some people around me that I talk to and stuff on a pretty regular basis, and that's great. But it's someone who's like unbiased, just giving me a professional opinion. They went to school for this, a lot of schooling, and I really like just hearing from him. He goes, you're not going to necessarily listen to me when you get out of these. Sometimes because I was going into it. He says, when you leave here, you may not listen to me, but as a professional, I have to give you my opinion based on what we're talking about here. It could be anything. It could be relationship stuff, or family. He knows about my family losses. What's so interesting is when my sister ended up passing away, I knew on Thursday night it was really going to be imminent. And she ended up passing away Friday morning. I found out Friday late afternoon when she did pass away. And what's weird is I was like, until she passes away, I'm not going to go see a therapist. Just not closing that chapter, but like, okay, I'm going to go in brand new with everything I'm dealing with and go talk to a therapist about mom dying, dad dying, sister just died. So once she passed away, I was going to go talk to someone. Well, something inside me, this is weird. Something inside me said, reach out on, I guess it was Tuesday. I heard back Wednesday. Thursday, I knew it was imminent. And Friday, she died. So I reached out right before she actually passed away. And we were set up, before she passed away, we were set up for that following 10 days later, Monday anyway. We were going to do it on the 10th. Like she died, like I said, on the 1st, and we were set up on the 10th or 11th of February. So she passed away 4 days later. We had the funeral. I came home on that Tuesday night. I had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday weekend, and then she went to, then I went to therapy on that Monday morning. And she had just passed away. It's just weird, the timing. Timing sometimes is everything in different situations. Timing can be really beneficial, I guess, with different things. And I guess in my heart of hearts, it was time to go do it. And she, like I said, my dad, a sidebar here, my dad, like I said, went to hospice and passed away. My sister was a funeral director before she got sick. So she had everything planned out for her stuff, all that stuff. But what was interesting is she didn't want to go yet to hospice or whatever, and she ended up dying, thank goodness, I have to say, in the hospital, where she didn't have to make that decision for herself. One last time, I don't think she thought, or her fiance thought at the time, her fiance, I don't think they thought at the time she was going to pass away at this time when she went. But it was like everything kind of works for a reason and happens for a reason. She didn't want to make that call yet to go to hospice. And so she was able to pass away in the hospital, where she never had to actually make that decision for herself. And I knew it was just going to be hard. Sometimes it's hard for people. My dad was ready. And I'll say one more thing. I don't mean to keep going all over the place here. One more thing about my dad. So he was in the hospital / went to rehab for a little bit, a rehab facility for a little bit to try to get stronger, and realized that wasn't going to happen. Was back in the hospital. Went to one more rehab, and then ended up in hospice for about 1 day shy of 2 months. He went in on June 11th to the hospital. I walked him down our stairs for the last time, and he died on August 10th. And so he was ready. I lost my train of thought with that, but he was just ready. And so, like I said, with the hospice, he was ready to do it, like we talked about, do it his way and just go. Oh, sorry. I apologize. I know what I was going to say. I don't think when I walked him down the stairs, he thought I was ready to live without him yet, because we definitely did feed off of each other. We were more like brothers, like roommates for a while, not really father-son, because I'd cuss him out to his face, and sometimes he'd be like, "Don't be disrespectful, my boy." And then sometimes he'd be like, I would say like I would call him a name that I'm not going to say on here because I'm going to be polite. And he'd be like, "What, scat?" And I'm like, "Wait, you're actually answering to this?" And so like it was just all over the place. We were like brothers, and like we were like little brothers at the end. You know, we come in a baby, and a lot of times we leave as a baby, honestly. All that to say is, I don't think he thought I was ready when I walked him down the stairs for the last time 2 months prior. But I don't think he would have been ready to go on his own terms like that if he didn't think I was ready, even though I knew I wasn't ready. But he knew what I didn't know. He knew I was ready, even though I had no clue to deal with life without him. He never gave me responsibility, but always talked about, not behind my back, but I bet basically that, you know, he's not responsible. He never gave me responsibility. He never gave me a chance to show him until our back was against the wall. That happens a lot of times in life. Until your back is against the wall, you don't know what you're made of. Proverbial wall, or when I walked in his hospice room, I didn't stand up right in his face when him laying there passed away. I stood back a little bit, so I was closer to the wall than I was him, but I was looking at him, and I started, what's crazy is, you know, they knew I was walking in to see him there, you know, laying there dead. I just look at him, I go, "That's my guy." I look at him, and then I start bawling by myself, and I start bawling, and I call my sister Melissa, and we're talking, and I'm like, "I hope we'll still be close, even though we don't have a parent left here on here or whatever." Then she goes, "Make sure you grab everything." I was like, I will. And I grab it, and then I put the phone down, and I'm just looking at him. I grab his glasses, put them in my pocket, and I just start crying again. I start bawling like a baby, because what else do you do in that moment when you're by yourself and you see your parent laying there deceased? And then a lady walks in. I thought she was going to console me. She's like, "You're a little loud. I'm going to close the door." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So that was fun. And so then, yeah. That was that, and I saw him the last time there, and then picked up his ashes, and he's chilling downstairs. I give him a pound every so often, but you know, I sit in his green chair sometimes. I'm like, "My boy," and yeah, I say my boy a lot. And I told him, I said, "You're gonna make me a lot of money one day speaking about you and stuff." He goes, "Scat, watch your mouth. Don't be a wise guy." And I'm like, story of my life.
I love your dad voice.
Thank you.
And what was your dad's name?
My dad was Gordon Greenhut. He and all his siblings were GGGs, all of them. He has three sisters.
So I noticed little tiny things. So we're maybe going to get sidetracked here, but you sit in his green chair sometimes. Do you still live in your family home? Yeah.
He and I had moved to a townhouse from where I grew up in my home.
Okay.
I grew up in, yes.
So you're still in that house, and you have a chair, and his ashes are downstairs. Mm-hmm. Was your mom buried or cremated? Or?
My mom was buried, yes.
Okay. And what about your sister?
Sister is actually in Richmond, Virginia. She had some close family friends that they're still alive, but she wanted to be buried with them. We didn't all have plots together anyway. We just because my mom was with her, some of her extended family. It's just kind of weird how it worked out through time. But my dad wanted to be cremated. And then my sister's in Richmond with plots with her family friends that she considers family. And I'll be in Atlanta somewhere one day, or I may just be ashes one day, because whatever. I probably end up just ashes one day. And what's crazy is I can't believe I haven't mentioned this already. So my sister gave me the best gift I'll ever get in my entire life. Up to this point, and I'm sure it's going to be in the top 2 forever. It's a blanket from my bar mitzvah. It's our last photo together that we ever had. And she has it as a big blanket. And the quote is, "No matter where we are, we'll always be together." And that fits in so many realms, because they're all gone and I'm still here, and we're not going to be buried together, any of us. So no matter where we are, we'll always be together. It's just a really cool quote. I don't know if she just made that from the top of her head and said it, but it's with Georgia Bulldog stuff on it, on this blanket, and I wear it every night, and I love it. It covers me every night. And so even though it's a photo, it's all I got. I got photos, memories, and dates. So
tell us about, I guess, your weight loss. So you did that in...
Sure. I did in 11 months. I lost 110 in 11 months.
Tell us a little bit about how you do that, what you're currently doing, how you're still doing all of this stuff.
So I lost, for no reason, again, dates and numbers and stuff were big for me, because like I said, that's all I got. I wouldn't be a broken record with that. But 4 months and a day after my dad died, I started. So I started December 11th to 17. And I'm fortunate to say even today, because I've already done 4 miles before this podcast, awesome podcast, I have missed 23 days since starting my journey in 17. One was after I hit 365 days in a row. I did 370. I did a year and 5 days and took 1 day off because I knew my sister's impending death was going to be sometime, and I didn't want something I couldn't control to deal with something that I could control. So I took 1 day off, and I went 370 and 1. And that Sunday that I took off after hitting my year goal of going from 0 days in a row taking care of myself to 365 was one of the longest days ever, because I was so my body's so used to it mentally, physically, and emotionally. This is something I check off every day to do because it's one of the only things in the world I can freaking control. I can't control that my mom, dad, and sister passed away. And this may sound weird, but I don't do it every day like I'm talking to them. But if you're fortunate enough to still have an immediate family member, then you can call them, you can text them, you can email them, right? You may not every day, but you can. I can't do any of that with my immediate family. So this is something that I can do positive for myself that my family would want me to do. People are like, take a day off. Why? It's cardio. I'm not lifting. I do push-ups now or whatever here and there, but I'm doing cardio. We walk every day, don't we? So I do my elliptical every day that I'm fortunate enough that my body lets me. And then 2 years ago around now, I was diagnosed with, actually yesterday, 2 days ago, whatever, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. So I had to take 22 days off in a row. I took off June 8th was my last day. So June 9th to the June 30th, I took off because my body told me I couldn't do it. I was down to 140 something without working out and everything. My body was telling me, Scott, you can't do this right now. And then since July 1st, I'm very fortunate to say, since July 1st of 19, I've done it every single day. So I'm, Lord willing, about to hit 2 years in a row on my elliptical every single day since July 1st of 2019, hopefully here in a couple of weeks. So it's just something every day. I mean, that I do 10 miles every day right now. And can I sit here and tell you for certain that I'm going to do 10 miles every day for the rest of my life? No, I hope to go out and speak across the country, the world, and share my story and my family's story. And I don't know I'll be able to do 10 miles every single day. But while I'm doing a little less than traveling across the world right now, doing that, this is something I can control every day and maintain because I'm not always active when I'm not doing the elliptical right now. But yeah, and I haven't had another thing that's helped with my weight loss is I shared this because this has been part of my journey. I do not expect anyone in this world to do what I'm about to say, but I haven't had a piece of dessert, fast food, or fried food since February of 18. Not one. And I tell you, I'm surprised I didn't mention this earlier. So the 2 months that my dad was in the hospital, hospice, all that stuff before he passed away, I would go to a local, it's called Quick Trip, QT gas station, and I would walk in and they'd be like, 2 more brownies tonight? I would go home and eat my feelings every night because I was going home to an empty house. He was basically dying himself out there. So I would come home, I just go see him every day. Some days I'd be there for 10, 15 minutes. He just needed to rest. He was delirious for 10 days. He was septic. So he was delirious for a while, for 10 days. Only knew it was me, told me to go pick up an ambulance and bring him home. He said they were hitting him. I mean, he was like, Scat, go get the ambulance and bring me home. And I'm like, not laughing, but I don't know what to do. He goes, are you laughing at your father? That's what he said. He goes, you laughing at your father? And I'm like, no. And he would just be talking. He would be saying words, but none of them would make any. It was crazy. And one time I put the phone on for my sister, and it's like, Scott. She's like, Scott, I can't understand a word he's saying. But the only thing he knew when I walked in the room, he knew it was Scott. He knew. He looked at me and saw it was me. Other than that, nothing made sense. But from his vantage point at all to me, nothing made sense. But he knew when Scott walked in. I mean, I was a big bullseye. You could see me very, very well. I was very round. But yeah. So I always ate my feelings for a very, very long time, and I realized at some point food is a fuel for your body. I mean, it was just a whole mindset change. But I say the best way how I started, besides just I saw my future with my dad, one of the things how I started was you're not going to just, I ate broccoli before when I was really fat, but I ate a lot of other stuff. And I gradually worked within 3 months, I stopped eating all the other stuff. Like I said, I started my journey on my elliptical December 11th of 17. That was my elliptical. But if you don't have a reason to eat healthier, you can't just say one day, eat all this crap, and then one day, I'm never going to have fast food again. You have to have a reason, like to get up every day, or a reason for anything. So my reason for not eating the stuff was I'm working out. And even at the beginning, I would still eat a little bit. I would have the hamburger, I would have the fries, whatever, for the first month and a half, 2 months. But at some point, if I'm putting this much work in on the elliptical every single day and going from 0 days to 365 days, why am I going to eat this stuff every day? And that was just my mentality, because for 31 years, I showed you my mentality. So it had to gradually change. It's not going to happen overnight. Everyone wants that instant success, but you can't just say it that you want it. You have to actually just start it, but not just stop it right after. If it doesn't work after 6 days, oh my gosh, then I got to stop. No. And the best way to make sure is the habits. I literally did my elliptical every day. I stopped eating the crap every day. I don't want to belittle diets and stuff, but the best way for long distance success is just keeping up after it every single day. And you can miss a day. You don't have to be like me and want to do it every single day. But like I said, it's the one thing that I can control. And so with my weight loss, it's working out every single day that I'm physically able to and mentally able to, and then eating the right stuff. I have turkey, I have grilled chicken. I had greens I've already had lunch today. I had collard greens for lunch today. I had chicken curry stuff with a little rice and collard greens. It's just, I have veggies every meal. And I just don't eat the other stuff. But again, I don't expect anyone to not eat the stuff I haven't had since February of 18. That's not normal. It's not something to ask someone to do or inspire someone to do that. You have to want to do something like that yourself. It's not because I did it, I expect anyone else to. That's just my journey. I actually surprised my aunt in Delaware a week and a half ago, and she loved the line I said. She asked me, she goes, "Do you miss it?" I said, "No." I said, "I enjoy telling you I haven't had it now in this streak more than I used to enjoy eating it." And trust me, I used to enjoy eating it. I used to love eating it. I used to I have a Burger King across the street from where I live, and they're like, "We knew that was you." They knew my voice in the drive-thru. I knew my voice. They knew my voice. I mean, they knew me. They knew how my car sounded. They knew everything. They're like, "We knew that was you." And I would go get my dad a lot of stuff like that. I used to go to Costco and get a piece of pizza, a hot dog, and a drink for $3 or $4 something. And that's already, if you eat that meal, that's already more than half the calories you need for a day in 10 bites. It's just for me, it's a mental shift. And I'm not doing it right. I'm doing it right for me. I'm going to inspire based off what I've done. And if you want to latch on and do something similar, cool in life, cool. But I'm never going to tell someone that's what you need to do. Because what I do every day, it's not feasible for most people to want to even not have that stuff. But the streak of controlling my streak is better to me than eating it, because I can't control much of what I deal with every day in my life. Even though I was 12 and my mom died, next month it'll be 23 years. I miss her every single day and think about her nonstop. So it's that doesn't go away that it's been 23 years. And then with the more recent deaths of my dad and sister, it brings everything from the 12-year-old Scott back up. So I'm still dealing with all the grief and stuff. So I can't control that, but I'll control the small little things, and I'll take them to the bank with me every day, so to speak. I'll take them with me to the grave, if you will, as long as I can, because I can't control much, and I'll control the small things that I can control. When I get off my elliptical, sometimes I do a photo, and I know people get bored of seeing them on my stories on Facebook and Instagram, but it's Scott's doing this. It's not perfect. It's not I'm not telling everyone they need to do it, but this is what Scott's doing to cope with we all deal with stuff in life. I'm willing to share mine. A lot of people aren't willing to share what they go through, and that's fine. But I'm someone who is, so I keep talking about it. Because even if one person a week, one person a month gets inspired by what I'm doing, then my job is working. Then I'm doing my job.
And one thing I wanted to ask you too is what happened recently whenever what did you do? Get a scratch off ticket or something? You won?
Oh yeah. I won I was very fortunate to win $1,000 on the scratch off, and I play more than I probably should on the scratch offs, but when you have to go somewhere else versus the gas station that you go to win it, it feels a little different. So when I have to go to the actual office, and so I thought with this money, And it wasn't like, look at me, but at the same time, I try to inspire every day. Not that I try to do something new every day per se, but like, I'm not out there on the grind speaking right now. So I try to live even if I would try to live every day inspirational as much as I can. Just like this dude gets up every day as much as he can and tries to put a smile on his, but some days there are no smiles. There's no smiles because I'm not really going to put I don't know how to do a fake smile. It's really ugly. But I try to do the best I can with what I've got. And I just thought this is a good way to try. If someone else wins that, or like, I would love to win the lottery. Obviously, winning the lottery would be awesome. But I would want to help. I want to help people so bad in my life. Like, that's all I feel like I'm left here to do. Share mine and my family's story and be someone to help others. That's all I want to do for the rest of my life. I don't know how long I've got, but that's what I want to do. And I think everyone feels that way, and you really feel that way. But like, they're all gone. It's like one bad move, I'm gone. You don't know. I mean, we could be gone in a flash. I don't know. But I want to live every day trying to help people as much as I can and be an inspiration, motivation, whatever it is. And so I went around and did like little random acts of kindness, $50 each time. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I put a lot of them on Facebook. I actually have a list of all of them in my phone of what I did since I talked about it. Not like, look at me, but like where the money went. Because it's one thing to say I'm going to do it and then pocket it or whatever and go spend it on myself, which would have been fine, but that's not what I wanted to do. With this money, I wanted to inspire others. If you're in that position you don't have to give the whole $1,000 away if you win it, but something. It's like, I'm not trying to do big, but like, I don't know. I look at life just differently through my lens, I guess. And so if you do of what I've done of things that you don't think you could, like, I lost 110 pounds in 11 months. That was like my job at the time. I needed to do that because if I wasn't here, when I lost my dad, knowing my sister's impending death was happening, like I said, I was over 270. I was either going to get worse or get better. And I decided to get better. And that took a lot of time, 11 months to get right. And then small little things happen. I did a little article in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the AJC, a little thing, put that out there. Coach says, come talk to my kids if you want. And then one happened right after that. And I'm very thankful for all the coaches who have let me speak to their kids. At my former high school, Brookwood High School, has been really helpful in getting me started with this stuff. Either someone still from there or now who's no longer there as coaches' kids somewhere else, they've all had me come speak to their kids. So it's all spanned from my old high school, which has been very good to me through the years. Very good to me. A lot of mentors and people that, went, instead of talking about losing weight, I did something tangible that they could see. When you help yourself, a lot of people will try to help you out once you try to help yourself. And that's what I've learned.
Parentless Podcast is available on many podcast platforms, including Spotify, Spreaker, Apple, Google Play, and Amazon, just to name a few. If you've enjoyed what you've heard, please consider sharing the show with a friend or rating and reviewing wherever you're listening right now. This will help get the word out about the show, and if one person can be helped by listening to someone's story found here, that is amazing. If you would like to help support the show, view extra content, and hear about special projects happening with Parentless Podcast, please visit www.patreon.com/parentlesspodcast. Is there anything that, like, when you hear a song, when you see something, sight, taste, sounds, that you remember your family by?
So when you said that, I didn't know this question. I see it all the time when I'm on the Elliptical, and I remember it was in New York. My sister and I met up there for her cousin's wedding. And there's a J.G. Wentworth commercial. I'm not going to try to – I did an audition for American Idol, but not because I could sing. I was trying to go viral because I can't sing. But the J.G. Wentworth commercial, we looked at each other and just always did that boisterous voice that J.G. Wentworth calls 877 cash now. Like, every time I see that, I think of Melissa. So, like, automatically, like, that just off the top of my head. With that, so that put a smile on my face when you just asked that, because I just thought of Melissa right when you asked that question. My mom, obviously, like seventh heaven, thinking about stuff like that, and honestly, when I hear the word cancer, it's sad to say, like, I just think of my mom. Like, it's It's been implanted in my brain for so like it's cancer, such a word, it's such a horrible word that so many people go through. Everyone has been touched by it, by either someone you know or someone you love or someone you care about or someone that you know has been through it or someone they know, someone you know, they know someone. So someone has been, but everyone has been touched by it by some way or another. You know, just like that. I hate to say like to be like not negative like that, but like that. And my dad was an attorney, so anything with like lawyers or whatever, because that's the best dad in the world. I definitely think you could understand me saying this. Probably not the best dad in the world. But the closure we had was great, so I'm always going to have that. But, like, he was an attorney, and just anytime I see lawyer or attorney or whatever, I think of him. Song really with them, none of them really with the song. My dad liked country music, and I thought the only time that was okay was when we drove to Athens in the morning on Saturday mornings to go to Georgia football games that we went to for a few years. So hearing country music, I think of him on Saturday mornings a little bit. But, like, I know it's kind of more morbid than what you were thinking of, but the J.G. Wentworth with my sister was the first thing that popped in my head when you asked about that, and that really put a smile on my face because I see those commercials right now all the time. There's 877 cash, no. Okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. I don't want people to turn off because of that. We just looked at each other and did that, and then we would do that on the phone, and weird. I know she would kill me if she was here. We did baby voice together. I'm sure siblings have done that, whatever. We did baby voices all the time, me and her. So I'm sharing a lot of info today. Picking up toenails and baby voices with my sister. Yep, but that's my life. So that's kind of that. All that in a nutshell.
If you're feeling down or just not good, that in those moments, is that kind of when you're seeing that commercial, do you think? Have you picked up on that at all, or it's just kind of random?
Kind of random, but I've definitely seen it more lately, just in general. I've noticed that, but it's a different kind of commercial than before, a little bit, but still same premise. But like, I don't know, I've seen those. I'm like, because I see it all the time on the elliptical. When I'm on the elliptical, if I happen to have to watch commercials, then I do see that more. Is where I've just noticed I've seen it more. I'm sure I've seen it. I'm very thankful with my DVR. I don't see as many commercials anymore. But I just joined that about a year ago, and just got Hulu like a week and a half ago. So I'm getting hip with the times. But yeah, I do see that commercial some because I do watch TV sometimes on the. I watch TV all the time on the elliptical, but sometimes I watch like live TV or sports or whatever. So then that's when I'll see that JG. But it's just so weird because I didn't know you were asking that question, and that was the first thing that popped in my head right when you said. I was like, I'll share the random commercial with my sister.
Did anybody have a quote or a saying?
My mom, not really, not with like quotes or anything like that. Just I just remember her, she was just such a, she was my mom, yes, but she was a genuinely gentle, great person, like a great human being. My mom was just a great person. I mean, they all were, but she was just she had a really loud, very I'm glad mine is too, very loud laugh, a very loud giggle. And she was just a really good human being. I don't know. She just really was. And my dad, never pays to be a wise guy and all that stuff. However old I was, like I said, I was 31 when he died. So the last time he said this was, "You're 31, you're snot nose doing nothing with your life." I heard that all the time, whatever age I was. So heard that a lot. But that sounds horrible, but that's what that was real life. That was us. So it's take it or leave it. I'll take it because that's made me partly who I am today in my situation. Stuff like that wouldn't happen and I couldn't talk about that today, then I don't know if I'd be the person I am. You know what I mean? I don't know how to describe that, but it's all led to this moment of getting my life in order because like I said, he was my martyr. I didn't know I was waiting for him to die to see my future laying there dead he was 62. So he was still fairly young. Obviously my mom was 44, my sister was 37. So they were much younger, but he was an attorney, like I said, and he loved being that 24/7. He was giving law advice to the people at the hospice on his deathbed. That's what he was doing. I walked in the first and second night. He went into hospice on a Friday night. He died Thursday, so it was he was there 6 nights. I walked in there for the first time at 1:00 in the morning. Saw him laying in the bed. He was going to pass away in. He was literally giving law advice while I was there. I was there for an hour getting him situated. You would have thought that I I don't know how to describe this. So this is a moment with him toward the end. So I get there like really late. I was with some family friends. I had dinner with them. I was just getting myself mentally prepared to go see him laying in his deathbed where he was going to soon go to this place to die. I get there and he goes, "Scat, I can't figure out how to get CNBC on TV." And so he's laying in this bed. He has no strength. He left his dialysis center to like in an ambulance to go to the hospice center. So he has no strength at all. And so he doesn't get up, obviously. And he didn't get up again. And I go find the remote, and there's a TV thing, the channel guide. And I found CNBC. You would have thought like I just wanted, he was so proud and excited. You would have thought like I just hit a shot at the buzzer to win a championship. He goes, "Thank you, my boy." He was like so excited that I found the channel for him. Like the channel came on, that I did it for him. Like it was something like I'll always remember. And I would be remiss if I didn't talk about my, so I always wear a breast cancer bracelet. I guess if you're listening to this, you can't really see this. And I'm wearing a ocular melanoma one, even though you can only just see it in color because, well, if you're listening, you can't see it, but whatever. And then I'm wearing a $14.99 watch from Bass Pro Shop. And I had gotten this fixed for Gordon for my dad when he was at a rehab facility that didn't work out before he passed away. And I got it fixed for him. He was so proud. He goes, "Thank you, my boy." And I said, "You bet." So I got the links for him right. He was really, really frail and thin, really thin at that time. It was a couple weeks before he passed away. And he was wearing it, and he was about to get in the ambulance. I was going to go pick up his last clothes at the last place he was before he was going to hospice, because he decided, this happened kind of quickly. Wednesday it was fully decided, and then Friday he had a bed at this hospice facility down the street from the house. And I said, I've never worn this watch before in my life. It's $14.99. Like, it's something I would have returned and gotten $15 and change back for after he died, right? But he was wearing it. He wanted me to get it fixed for him. I said, "Do you want me?" And I will always say this on stage, Lord willing, when I get an opportunity to speak, because I wear it every day. I said, "Do you want me to wear it when you go?" And his response was, "That'd be nice." So he takes it off and he gives it to me, and I've worn it every day since. It's a $15 watch. It means the world to me. I put more money into it than it's worth just making sure it works every day. But you do that. Life is short. It's the little things in life. It's not all the big things. All that to say, it's the little things in life. It really is. Little moments that you would never think about when you were 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever. When you're an adult and you're dealing with life, or even younger, whatever. It's the little things in life. And that moment, I mean, hopefully I can have this work, even if I have to put $100 into a $15 watch, $100 more. No, I'm just kidding. But $100 into it, then, whatever. But one day it may stop, and then hopefully I can get it like framed or whatever next to his ashes or whatever. But I can wear it, and it's not even a watch I would wear, like a sports watch. I know I'm going on a tangent, but it's like, "That'd be nice." And like that response to wearing a $15 watch is like in my heart. I don't know how to get it out of my heart. It pulls at it every day. So I put it on, I wipe it down because I have OCD, and I wipe all my stuff down every night. Too much info. And then I wear it every day, and proudly. And I got literally my mom, dad on one arm here, and then a bracelet with my sister on the other. And that's why I wear my bracelets every single day.
I do want to ask about your OCD. Now, did you have OCD or symptoms of it when you were younger, or when did this occur?
Yeah, I did. Everything got worse. So I was a germaphobe before my dad died because he was on dialysis, like I said. And obviously, the end result was he stopped dialysis to die. But I didn't never want to get him sick or anything like that. Being a germaphobe myself, I have a phobia of getting sick, because also getting off my elliptical or whatever. If you have to, you have to. But I do everything in my power to control what I can control, to not do that. So OCD and anxiety and all that stuff, it's definitely gotten worse since being the last person in my family. I'm not going to lie, but now I'm working on it more than I ever have before. But the germaphobeness was bad, and I had a good excuse. My dad's on dialysis. He dies, and I take it to a whole nother level. And I can admit, I'm a man. I can admit that. I took it to a whole nother level on my own, because it's one thing I can control. Being a germaphobe, though we can't control the germs that come in our life, we can trying to control it. And that's what I've always done. And then when I got in a row on my elliptical, like I said, Lord willing, I hit 2 years in a row on June 30th. There'll be a post about it, if I get there. Hopefully I will. And that would have been 731 days in a row because there was a leap year last year, February 29th. So yeah, it's really the OCD, and I check, to make sure the garage is closed. I know when I walk in for the night, the garage is closed, but I wipe down the knobs and I check and I'm giving info here because I'm sure I'm not the only one who's ever people who listen to this, I'm sure I'm not the only one who has dealt with this. I check things because that's, again, something small that I can control. I can go open the door. It's little things. I cannot eat. Or not eat their bad foods. I can work on the elliptical, but big things in my life, I can't control what's happened to me. But the OCD is part of the small things. I can make sure that I'm safe at night and I can go check on that. And it has gotten better with the medicines and stuff a little bit. Some nights will be really bad and some nights I'll be like, oh, I look at it, do the light for a second and I'm good. Some nights, I wouldn't want a camera on me. So I just keep it real. I don't know how to be anything else but authentic. So yeah, so it's definitely gotten better with medicine, but it's definitely still there. Since my mom died, and again, nothing with her, just a timeline. Like I said, I mentioned this earlier. People knew, I always got dizzy. I've always, my body would move. Sometimes I'd be my body would feel like it's spinning. Of course, it's really not, but then my body would shake. But it's anxiety that I've never taken care of. And still even to this day, the other day I was at one of the restaurants I frequent a lot, and she's like, are you okay? I'm like, I just need a minute. I'll be all right. But I just get dizzy because I don't know how to breathe. As you can probably tell from just my stuff, I don't know how to relax. I don't even know how to spell relax. I really don't. I do, but I don't. I don't know how to relax. I don't know how to look the word up and follow it in the dictionary. I've never relaxed in my life. I've never been able to in my life. And that's another thing I can control is I'm just going to be me. There's only one Scott Greenhut. There's only one me in this world. So I just control me, not probably calm. I don't know how to be calm. I love shooting. That's one thing. Okay, so yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Actually, we haven't even talked about this, but we had a Thanksgiving at my grandparents' house about 2 hours away, big family. I think it was 95, I think it was. And my dad came home a day early, and I get home on that Saturday. He comes home, I guess, Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, and there's a hoop in my driveway. They surprised me, a hoop in my driveway, but it got it at a garage sale, and it had to have barriers on the bottom. It was very, now I would say not well thought out. It wasn't let's go to the store and put a pole in. And I'm not going to hate, but I'm not going to hate. I'm just going to state. It was awkward. It had bricks on the bottom to hold it down. It was, and I had a brick driveway growing up, but so it was awkward to dribble a basketball in a brick driveway, but it's all worked out to this point, I guess. But it was a way to get outside and just get my mind right and just shoot hoops. I've always loved shooting hoops, and basketball has been, the Hawks play on Saturday, or play on Monday, game 5, and one of my second biggest regret. Okay, this is a good segue, real quick, if you don't mind. So I worked for the Atlanta Hawks in 2014. It took me 10 and a half years to get through my undergrad. It took me 10 and a half years. I pretty much went through, minus 2 semesters I took off, but other than that, I went through college the whole time. I didn't take a breaks or anything, and it took me 10 and a half years to get my undergrad degree. 2 months before I was getting my degree, I got a job working in the locker room for the Atlanta Hawks. Now, I was huge at this time. I was very big. And I could hardly do my job, but I was doing it with a smile on my face, everything. And I love basketball, and I love basketball now. It's been my passion besides sharing my story and everything now at this point. But I was so close to it, I didn't realize what I had till I didn't have it anymore, till I left it. I had it really good with the Hawks job, but it didn't pay that well. But you don't do a job like that for the money. You do it for the experience, the exposure, being around people that you normally wouldn't be able to be around, NBA players, all that stuff. And my dad said, "Scott, don't quit it. You're gonna regret it." And I'm like, "No, I'm gonna do something else," because I literally got it 2 months. I say all that about school is I got it 2 months before I was graduating. It's the worst time to get that when I've been struggling through school forever. And the light is at the end of the tunnel, and I get this $8 an hour job. And it's perspective. Take a step back. It's my second biggest regret. My biggest regret is losing my weight after my dad died because he never got to see me. I should have actually been one of the first things I stated in this podcast. But one of the reasons with Please Just Start, too, is about regrets. My biggest regret in life is losing the weight after my dad died, because I did state earlier that my dad begged me almost every day to lose weight so I wouldn't end up just like him. He never got to see me look like this. And I'm not saying I look all great and all, but I'm thinner and I'm exactly what he wanted to have happen, but it took him dying. So it's like, just start. So, going along the same lines of just starting whatever it is and not having regrets. My second biggest regret is getting rid of my Hawks job. Because by now I could have been a player's personal assistant. You don't know what you could be unless you're in the building. I'm not in the building. So I'm nothing right now. And they had a playoff game last night at home. And I'm like, man, I wish I could be there. And I begged for my job back, and I'm hopeful something will happen. When I quit, my boss said, Scott, you're going to want to come back like real soon. And I'm like, nah, I don't think so. I quit on a Sunday, and that Thursday, I've been begging for my job ever since. And this is 2014. I would send emails. You know what? Maybe in this thing, I may tag the Hawks in it and be like, let me come back on. But I've been begging for my job ever since. I worked in the locker room, and I didn't realize what I had till I didn't have it anymore. So basketball has been huge for me. I also was fortunate to work for one of the good friend of mine, and his dad is one of the best high school coaches in the nation, one of the best in the state of Georgia to ever coach. He's won multiple state championships. I was part of I filmed for them. I filmed for them for 3 years, and the second and third year we won back-to-back state championships. I was part of as their videographer, and the coach called me up and said he wanted to get me a ring for back-to-back state championships. So it was like one of the coolest moments ever to just be a very small part of it, but part of the journey, and go to every game and film for them, ride the bus, whatever, just feel a part of something, small part of something big. And I missed the Hawk shot. I'm glad you brought up basketball, because basketball has been a very big part of my life. I've coached 9 seasons of youth basketball in the Atlanta area as well. Last time I did was 2012, so it's been a while. But struggling through college, I have so many mentors that have been in my life through sport, through basketball, and through my old high school with athletics, that I always wanted to be that mentor to others that I have been there for me. And so basketball has been so big. So I'm really glad you did. We didn't even talk about this, but I'm glad you brought up basketball, because with that Hawks job, I want to talk on stage about, like, I hope I can get the job back, but no matter what, I went through that for a reason and quit when I did for a reason. I'm talking about it now about regret. And so if someone can take something from that, then also it was all worth it, I guess you could say. With grief and stuff, I mean, there's no one size fits all. Like, in all seriousness, like, it's rough every day, but I don't want to say I'm built for this. I'm not part of the LeVar Ball family. Built for this. But like, it's just whatever you're interested in, and like with grief or whatever, with the hashtags. But I don't have anything besides the Panelist podcast, of course. There's not stuff that I really go to every day, or anything like that on a regular basis at this moment. It's just different, just nitpicking from different things, whatever, and the hashtags and whatnot. But what you do, honestly, I'm just we weren't planning on this, but what you do is very, very big in helping people, because like what's happened to us, some of us, is going to happen to all of us at some point. Like I said, I'm wide the hell open. Pardon my language. I'm wide the hell open. I don't know how else to be, but authentically Scott. I'm not trying to be no one else. I'm going to be Scott unapologetically. Hopefully you like me. That would be great. If you don't, I can't do much about it, because when you're authentic, it doesn't really matter. I'm not trying to get the likes. Do we all want likes? Should we put something out there? I'm vulnerable. I want something. You want something in return with the likes, but that's not why I do stuff. A lot of times it's for me. So I put that one of my best friends, I text every day with, he knew my dad, and I put my boy at the end of I tell him every time I get off my elliptical, it's like not accountability, but kind of accountability. I get to see it every day that I text him that I've done it because of my OCD and everything. And I take photos of every day of my elliptical, because again, on the outside, he's doing the best he can, and I am doing the best I can, but that doesn't mean it's perfect. And I struggle every single day. I try not to cry every day. I try to smile as much as I can, but I'm just real. And I'm raw. I'm real. Some days I cry and I don't necessarily video me crying, but like afterwards I'll be like, man, I need to stop crying. I've done that before. Like, but that's real. Everyone cries at some point. No one is immune to bad things happening. It's how we respond to it. And we did touch on this, and we did say about, things happen. And when I said about my sister passing away, a lot of people didn't know, if you didn't know me well, you might not have known she was sick because I couldn't put it out there and stuff. And then, what I did see, we didn't talk about this, but someone said, I saw someone put, I don't think they meant for me to see it, but it was like, oh, now all his family's gone. Like literally right after I posted about my sisters, people were starting to write me and people were starting to assume. A lot of people knew she was sick, but it was not something it was her story. She was very private, so it was her story to share. And then when she passed away, it was something I had to deal with. So then it was my story and sharing about her. But like, oh no, all his family's gone now or whatever. I'm like, that's something he really wants to see in third person. No, not really, because he's lived that he knew that was going to happen. Scott knew that was going to happen. But someone wrote, Scotty, I don't love the name Scotty, but enough people call me that. They're like, I just don't know what to say. And that's as real and raw as can be. And I did want to say that. You know what? Now, I don't want to sit here and give advice, but I don't know what to say is like, when it's authentically said is one of the best things you can say, because there really is nothing to say. I'm sorry for your loss. There's nothing wrong with saying I'm sorry for your loss or whatever. Or call me if you need, that's fine. All that's fine. But when you really don't know what to say, saying that is fine too. And that is I read a list of everything after my sister passed away. And that is just something that stuck with me. And in our few moments we talked before this podcast, I have just told you that. And I'm glad I was able to get that on here, where it's like, if you don't know what to say, you can say that because that's real in that moment. And that's fine too.
I like that because that's something that really hasn't come up before. Nobody's really said, I just don't know what to say. But that is, I think, the root cause of people not reaching out. When you don't say anything, that's saying more than not saying anything.
Absolutely. Less is more sometimes, and I could learn from that myself because I talk a lot.
I do want to ask, how can we find you?
Yes, so I appreciate you asking such questions. I'm on Twitter, and I do a little bit, but yeah, Instagram, mainly just Instagram, I guess. And Twitter, I'm at Scott_inspires. And then, you can look me up, I guess, on Facebook here and there. I'm active on there, but more for all this stuff is more with the grief stuff and stuff like that. Is Instagram would be at Scott_inspires. And then, of course, with that hashtag, please just start, you can find me. And then I have a website. It's not the best. It's kind of generic, but it's www.scottinspires.com. Contact through there. And I'm also on email if you ever need the email or anything, scott@scottinspires.com. But really, my Instagram would be great with at Scott_inspires on there as well. Thank you for having me, Steph. And again, I really appreciate everything that you do. It really means a lot.
Thank you. You are sharing and making an impact as well.
Parentless Podcast is recorded in Phoenix, Arizona. Find us on social media and most major podcast platforms. Music provided by Colin Lococo and the Revolving Birds. Studio and editing provided by Back Home Media and Ian Relaford. Check out one of the many shows on our network. I am your host, Stephanie Relaford.